What's up, fellas? What's going on? It's your boy Nacho, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the Myionuclear Domain size limit and how to break through it, okay? So, the Myionuclear Domain size limit, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's going to sound complicated because of maybe there's some terminology you guys are not familiar with, but when you get down to it, when you understand it, it's pretty simple, okay? So, what is it exactly? So one thing you got to know is that muscle fibers are multinucleated, okay? They have multiple nucleuses within the muscle fibers, okay? When it comes to your different types of muscles like your cardiac muscle and then your smooth muscle that's in your stomach and stuff, those are going to be single nucleated muscle types, okay? Because they are involuntary, meaning you don't consciously contract your heart or your stomach when they're functioning. They're just involuntary. You're doing it unconsciously, okay? Your body is doing it on its own. When it comes to your skeletal muscle, that's going to be voluntary. You are consciously contracting these muscle fibers. So they're going to be multinucleated. They're going to have growth, they're going to have potential for growth. Now, these nuclei in the muscle, these myonuclei, can only support a specific amount of volume of cytoplasm. Okay, so meaning pretty much they can only support a certain amount of domain, muscle size limit, pretty much. And so, yeah, so one nucleus is going to be one domain. You cannot grow past this limit without more nuclei. So I kind of see like this, man, like a teacher within a classroom. The teacher can only handle so many students before needing a teacher aide to help her with more potential students. You see what I'm saying? Like it's going to be governing that volume of cytoplasm, and it can only grow to a certain limit before needing new nuclei to further that myonuclear domain. Okay, guys, do you guys get it? So you're gonna have a ceiling because you have a limited amount of myonuclei in your muscle fibers. You need more of these to further that size domain. And this is for your myofibrils. Okay, your myofibrils are the contractile tissue, the contractile units of your muscle. Okay, you have sarcoplasmic muscle, and then you have myofibrils. Okay, your sarcoplasm is just the glycogen in the muscle. It's gonna be non-contractile. It's just fluid. Okay, you don't need nuclei for that. That could grow. That could grow without any ceiling, pretty much. Okay, so why does this matter? So the growth is going to depend on the ability of nuclei to support increased muscle volume. Okay, so basically that growth is going to depend on the nuclei. Okay, and if you want to grow more in those myofibrils, you're going to need more nuclei. Like I just said, you're going to hit a hypertrophy limit. You're going to stall out if you don't add more of these nuclei. Okay, that's why people, they plateau and then they don't know what to do. They say they hit a natural limit. They hit a natural limit. And this is why everybody believes you cannot grow muscle past a certain point. And what's interesting is that you actually stop growing muscle earlier than what people think. Okay, and I'm going to explain to you why later in this video. So how do you add these nuclei? Okay, you're going to have to activate satellite cells. Now, satellite cells are muscle stem cells. These cells are regenerative, okay? So what's going to happen? You're going to have to cause muscle damage eccentrically. This is going to activate the satellite cell. Okay, what's going to happen? You're going to bring out the satellite cell out of quiescence. What that means is your satellite cells are usually dormant, meaning they're asleep. So I kind of think of this like you're poking the bear. You're poking the sleeping bear, okay? What's going to happen is going to wake up. It's going to go crazy. So you bring out these satellite cells out of quiescence. They proliferate, which means they multiply. They differentiate, which means they're going to turn into different stuff like some fibroblast and myoblast, okay? The myoblast is what's going to fuse with the muscle fibers, and your muscle fibers are going to go through sarcomerogenesis. That means you're going to grow sarcomeres in series and in parallel. So sarcomeres, what they are the basic contractile unit of the muscle fibers. Okay, these are the actual contractile units. These are what the myofibrils are made of, okay? And what are these sarcomeres made of? They are made up of amino acids, made up of proteins and all that. So that's why it's super important when you cause muscle damage to eat a bunch of animal protein, because that's what these sarcomeres are made of. They're made up of these protein, these amino acids. It's gonna aid in this protein synthesis, okay? Also, you need protein synthesis to exceed breakdown, because your body is in a constant state of breaking down protein and building up protein, okay? So when that happens, these myoblasts and stuff, they're gonna donate their myonuclei to these muscle fibers so that you could further expand the growth capacity, okay? I think I covered everything. I think I covered the whole process. So if you guys don't get it right away, just rewatch it. So what's not going to work? What's not going to work is standard training. Okay. And the main reason is because the repeated bout effect. Okay. The repeated bout effect, what it pretty much is, it's a phenomena that protects your body from getting damaged from further assaults. Okay. So when you first come in the gym, your first training session, you come in the gym, you work out, and you get DOMS. You get delayed onset muscle soreness for 7 to 10 days, okay? What happens is that you have caused muscle damage. You've caused muscle damage, and so it goes through that whole process like I explained to you. You bring out the satellite cells out of quiescence. They differentiate, proliferate, fuse with the muscle cell, and donate their myonuclei. And so you have a further growth capacity when you first come into the gym. Now, that's your goal. Your goal is to do that weekly to further grow your myofibrils, okay? So standard training doesn't get past the repeated bout effect, okay? Because the training is too frivolous, because everybody's basing it off of concentric failure, when in fact your eccentric can handle more reps and more weight in with the load. Okay, so your eccentric is going to be dependent on the concentric when it comes to standard training. Okay, now what happens is, why people think they're growing muscle but they're actually not, is because they're growing their sarcoplasm, their glycogen storage is increasing, and you add that with neural adaptations, meaning you're getting stronger weekly or you're adding reps. That I call that the greatest illusion of muscle growth, because you're getting bigger and you're getting stronger. So you must be growing muscle, right? No, not exactly. You're getting bigger because you are increasing your sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, which is non-contractile. You're getting stronger because you're increasing your neural drive. Meaning you're lifting with the same exercises week by week. So all that means is you're getting practice with that exercise. And what happens when you lift that exercise more is that your CNS is getting more efficient with those exercises. Okay, so it's not because of structural adaptation, it's because of neural adaptation and of glycogen storage. Your sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is increasing, so that's going to give you an illusion that you are growing muscle, But there's two different types of muscle. There's sarcoplasmic and myofibral. Now, what we're talking about with this myonuclear domain size limit, it's going to be myofibrils, okay? Now, over time, are these standard training lifters, are they growing myofibrils? Possibly, because the eccentric has to adapt to that weight in the future, but it's slow and inefficient. It's too slow and inefficient. The reason is because of this. You guys have to keep the repeat about effect in mind. So, say week one, say you were doing dynamic double progression, whatever these people use to progress in standard training. You do a bench press, a 225 for 10 reps, okay? The next week, you do 225 for 11 reps. Now you think, oh man, I went up 1 rep, I'm getting stronger, I built muscle, right? You guys have to think about it. You're basically getting the same exact stimulus, just with another concentric rep. Now the concentric doesn't aid in muscle damage, okay? Because you're shortening the sarcomeres. So you're losing sarcomeres in series when you do concentric only lifts. Now people don't do concentric, only do concentric and eccentric. But still, if you're going for concentric failure, which everybody's doing in the gym, you are shortening the sarcomeres, okay? So that's what I mean by the greatest illusion, sarcoplasmic and neural adaptations. So now what you need to do is eccentric overload, okay? So I always talk about this in my videos, and I demonstrate it with my workouts, okay? You do a weight that you can handle, that's over 100% of your max, and you do it eccentrically for multiple reps and sets because you are trying to cause muscle damage. If you guys have ever faced the repeated bout effect, you guys know how powerful it is. I couldn't tell you how many times I do an eccentric overload based workout. 1 week, I'll get damage. I'll get DOMS for like 3 to 4 days. It takes the full 7 days to recover. The next week, if I were to try that same exact workout, I would not get DOMS. I would not get muscle damage because your body is protecting yourself from further damage. So you need to do, when you're doing eccentric overload, the next week you need to do either more weight, more sets, or both. Okay, because what this is, it's all about doing unaccustomed workouts. Okay? You need to do something that your body is unaccustomed to. When you're doing eccentric overload, your body could be unaccustomed to maybe adding 10 pounds the next week, or it's unaccustomed to adding 1 or 2 sets. Or you could do different exercises because your body will also be unaccustomed to those different workouts as well. Okay, so this is the big reason why lifters today are hitting hard plateaus, is because of the myonuclear domain size limit plus the repeated bout effect. They go hand in hand. Okay, so you need to do eccentric overload to cause muscle damage, to further the size limit, and to get past the repeated bout effect, okay? Now, why eccentric? Because the concentric, you are shortening the muscle. You're shortening the sarcomeres. Okay, when you do concentric only, like I just said, you shorten the sarcomeres in series. And when you do eccentric overload, you're focusing on the eccentric, on the lengthening part of the lift. You are stretching the muscle fiber under load. So this is going to cause micro tears, okay? Now, this is just a basic overview of the myonuclear domain size limit. I mean, there's a bunch that goes into it. You have like ribosomal biogenesis that I could get into, mechanical sensors. I mean, it goes at a small level, but This is just the main points that you guys need to understand so that you guys know why you guys are doing eccentric overload and you guys know why standard training is gonna fail you eventually, okay? So that's pretty much it, guys. I'll see you guys later. Let me know what you guys think about that video and let me know what you guys want to see next, okay? I'll see you guys later. Peace.